school of the blue and gold. We're always for her in spirits untold.
Hello, welcome to the February 26th edition of JTV News. I'm Aaron Kent.
And I am Vincent Maza.
This is the last week of African American History Month, and this week we're going to show you some features about it.
Jefferson High School is a performing arts school which has a worldwide reputation. Some important people and events came here to visit us.
The duo of Kid and Play visited Jefferson High School to speak to the students. Their new movie, House Party 2, has been doing great at the box office. I had a chance to interview them, and I asked them to tell me a little bit about the plot. And here's what they had to say.
We got a good one. If you were the director, writer, or the producer for House Party 2, where would you have taken it?
You know, I started, kind of like sending him to college or something, had you trying to hold him back, doing that. And, and in the end, kind of had y'all, just like back buddies again, both one, you were Casey here, and him, didn't go to college, so.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's good.
That's just exactly how it is. E-man,
you're brilliant.
You're psychic.
As a matter of fact, before we go any further, I want to know who I'm talking to. Could y'all tell me your name?
My name is Christopher Reed.
My name is Christopher Martin.
His name is Mark. His name is Mark Eastman.
Many have wondered, how long did it take to grow that crazy whack do? So I asked him.
I rocked the box for about 3.5 years. Then I got tired of it,
He had to let it go when he saw he couldn't take on responsibility.
And you're going to come up on a lot of things in the next year or two. It's going to be like a crossroads. There's a good way you can go, and there's a bad way. And this time here in school, you may not realize it's going to prepare you to make that right decision when the time comes. A lot of people don't know when playing hour coming up, there was a lot of different ways we could have gone instead of ending up where we were. But I think because we had a friendship, we helped each other out and kept each other from doing the wrong thing so that we could be here in front of y'all, thanking y'all for helping us be where we're at.
I don't know if you guys have any, last words that you want to tell,
I didn't do it, no.
I want to say thank you to everybody who has supported us. I don't know when this will be viewing or be aired, but we're #1 film as of the weekend that just passed. We're looking at October 28th right now. #1 film. Our single is doing great. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. We have an album out now called Face the Nation. We want to thank you for the support of the other 2 albums, Too Hype and Funhouse. Thank you all, and God bless y'all. Without y'all, we couldn't swing it. Now kick it, kid, the way we really feel.
My man said it all. What can I say, Just continue to love me, please, because I sure do love you.
Tuesday, Reverend Jesse Jackson arrived at Portland International Airport to start a 3-day campaign swing through Oregon. He had to prepare for Wednesday morning when, yes, he came right here to Jefferson High School to talk to you, the student body, and the community. During his speech here in the gym, Jesse had many important things to say.
You're special every day. And I will challenge you today very directly about your choices and your behavior. 1, because I love you very much. 2, because I care. And C, because I'm not scared of you. I am somebody. Respect me. Protect me. Never neglect me. I am somebody. Everybody stand. Can learn. I ought to learn. I must learn. I will make a difference. Down with dope. Up with hope. Give life a chance. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Jefferson, #1.
As young people who are going to embark on probably the most incredible journey that human beings are capable of going on, and that's life. It's such just it seems as if 30 years, I'm 43 years old, so it seems as if 30 years time, but it's really a whisper. It goes by so fast. You look up and there's 10 years out of high school, and there's 20 years out of high school, and then eventually there's 30 years out of high school. And you just don't realize how important, perhaps at this point in time in your lives, it is for you to take responsibility for your life. The most important thing about growing is that once you overcome those obstacles, once you overcome those difficulties, you see a different self. So by placing yourself in a situation, or by allowing those obstacles to be vehicles for you to grow and achieve, you sense a different part of yourself. You become more confident, you reaffirm yourself, and you make that road a little bit easier for you, that road called life.
Art Blakey has played with many top performers, such as Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and Sarah Vaughan. Blakey has developed a style of drumming that combines power with complexity. This style, along with the talents of the Jazz Messengers, continues to draw enthusiastic audiences throughout the world. To Art Blakey, jazz is a highly spiritual music, and that the audience plays a major part.
Especially in jazz, because it's a spiritual music. From the creator to the artist to the audience. Split-second time. So there's no music like that.
Jeff student in 1989 had the chance to go see the play The Meeting, which is a conversation between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Recently, some students from Jefferson High School got a sneak preview of the play The Meeting and a look at the Field Factory exhibit being shown at IFCC. The Meeting is a fictional play about a meeting between Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That the buses in Alabama would no longer be segregated. What was accomplished was written on the faces of those who had struggled so long to prove that you could take a stand by sitting down. No, Malcolm. The only ones who doubted we had accomplished anything were those who never had to get up to give their seat to a white person, or move to the back of the bus, or watch white patrons being served in the comfort of a public restaurant while we walked to take food out into the rain or cold. Don't diminish what has happened, and don't misunderstand what will happen. Sometimes you got to be able to ride the bus before you can drive it. But don't think we're not planning to own the whole bus ride one day.
The exhibit began with the migration of African Americans from the South to North and followed their struggle to gain a better life. The exhibit, Field to Factory, is no longer at IFCC, but you can still see the play The Meeting until the 4th of March. Call IFCC for more details.
You can't force people to take something they don't want. Try as hard as you can to make the white folks love us. No matter how smooth you make them, the simple fact is, they just won't swallow the truth, even if it's good for them.
There's a lot of women in African American History Month. Here's a look at an Egyptian queen, the world's first great queen.
Ancient Egypt, the land of the Nile, It conjures up images of pyramids, of sphinxes, of temples and pharaohs. But rarely does one think of Hatshepsut, the first great woman known to history, the woman pharaoh of Egypt. Her story begins with her grandfather, Ahmose, who defeated and drove out of Egypt the Hyksos, invaders from Syria who had ruled Egypt for 150 years. Ahmose's son, Thutmose I, became pharaoh in 1524 BC. Thutmose I had 4 children by his queen, but only Hatshepsut outlived childhood. She was married to Thutmose II, her half-brother, the son of her father and a secondary wife. His son, by a harem girl, was declared Thutmose III. When Thutmose II died, Hatshepsut felt she was best qualified to rule, as only royal blood flowed through her veins, and Thutmose III had only 1/4 royal blood. Since he was still a child, Hatshepsut took the opportunity to assume power. She created problems, being a female pharaoh. True, she was of pure royal blood and lineage, but Egypt had never had a woman pharaoh. She often had herself depicted as a man and wore the ceremonial beard. She was referred to as His Majesty herself by the chroniclers of the period. Hatshepsut was more concerned with the welfare of Egypt than in war and conquest. She began an ambitious program of restoring temples which had been left in disrepair for the previous 200 years. She built for herself and the god Amun-Re one of the most extensive and impressive temples in the Valley of the Kings. Called Deir el-Bari today, and formerly known as Zeser Zesru, it is cut directly into limestone cliffs. A procession led across each level and was bordered with pink granite sphinxes, each with the body of a lion and the head and face of Hatshepsut herself, complete with beard. She is also famous for sending a trading expedition to Punt in today's Somalia. The expedition had 5 ships, 65 feet in length, each rowed by 30 men. In return for their jewelry, weapons, linen, fruits, beer, and wine, the Egyptians received gold, frankincense, myrrh, ebony, ivory, and animals. The precious frankincense returned to Egypt not only as resin, but entire trees were packed up and transplanted to her temple so that the god Amun could walk among the perfumed gardens. After 21 years of rule, Hatshepsut died and Thutmose III ascended the throne. He set out on a campaign to remove all traces of her and her rule from the land before he embarked on the military career that has resulted in his being called the Napoleon of Egypt. By forsaking the so-called manly pursuits of war, Hatshepsut brought peace, prosperity, and piety to Egypt as the woman pharaoh and the first great woman of history.
Last week, Nike came here for an African American History Assembly. Here's some highlights.
Now, one thing that we must remember today is that, it's good to remember Black history, Martin, Malcolm, Du Bois, things like that. But remember that today, Black history is being made with us. We are Black history. People like Gregory and Mark, so we tell our kids about it as our parents tell us. And now, as a part of this Black History Month Assembly, we have guests from the business community who are here to share their personal experiences and reflections about growing up in America. We can learn from them about both the barriers and opportunities that impact all American society. Please welcome today's commentator, Ken Bynum.
I'd like to thank you and welcome you all to this assembly commemorating Black History Month. And that's why these 4 people that are sitting here in front of you are here to address that. Their history, their thoughts, their feelings about where we are today and how they got to be where they are.
And, just the difference in society today that you have the opportunity to learn now who you are, what we've contributed in the past. I mean, to me, that's the greatest gift any of us could have.
Black History Month certainly is a reminder for me every year that there is absolutely positively nothing wrong with being Black in America. There's nothing wrong with being Latino, there's nothing wrong with being Native American, there's nothing wrong with being different.
And I think this is a time to reflect and to be inspired and to remember those people, women and men that have gone before us. And that in itself motivates you to be successful.
I think you have to remember, anybody that does something different, that wants to stand out and do something they think is right, is always going to get a lot of it. You have to be strong enough from within to do what you think is right. And if it's not right, hey, try it again.
Let's hear it for your KHU Smithsonian Commission's Athlete of the Month, Devon Abel.
Jefferson High School is famous for its dance program.
We've had Afro-Caribbean dancers come here.
And we also have an African dance class. Let's take a look.
A couple of weeks ago, dance classes were invited to the auditorium to watch an African-Caribbean dance group in an exhibition performance. The group was from San Francisco and did a number of different dances for the students. Jefferson dance students not only got to watch, but some also danced. The dance group spent an entire week working with students and selected some of them to perform up on stage. The dance group and the students danced to live music, which added to the atmosphere and the exhibition performance. Let's take a look at some of the dancing for those of you who haven't already seen it. This has been Carl Demke reporting for JTV News.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Brothers and sisters and friends. And I see some enemies.
On Thursday, February 25th, the African American Studies Club brought a special program to Jeff. Actor Michael Lange and social activist Kwame Samburo came to the TV studio for 5th and 6th periods. Mr. Lange presented a dramatic recitation of Malcolm X's speech, The Ballot or the Bullet.
We must understand the politics of our community. And we must know what politics is supposed to produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives. And until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of the community at heart. So this government has failed us. And the white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. And once we see that all the sources to which we have turned have failed, we stop turning to them and we turn to ourselves. We need a self-help program, a do-it-yourself philosophy, a do-it-right-now philosophy. It's an already too late philosophy. This is what you and I need to get with. Looks like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet. Now, why does it look like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet? Because Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They've become disenchanted. They've become disillusioned. They've become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations across America, which make America more explosive than all the atomic bombs the Russians could ever invent. Whenever you got a racial powder keg sitting in your lap, you're in more trouble than if you had an atomic powder keg sitting in your lap. When a racial powder keg goes off, it doesn't care who. It knocks out the way. Understand this.
Both guests answered questions after the presentation.
Like you say, black nationalism is a community thing, but what is Malcolm's opinion on the family structure? Because that has to come before the community.
I just like to say that I think it's amazing how you can do the memorizing of the whole speech and just what do you go through to learn that. And you know, what does it take for the youth today to be leaders like you, so they don't have to wait till they're 40 years old and we can have our own youth our age up there speaking to groups like that.
It's like all through grade school, we're flooded with so much information about Martin Luther King, and not till recently did we really start to learn about Malcolm X, his teachings, and who he really was. Why do you think that there's such a sudden wave of like popularity with him?
With Malcolm X? Probably because Malcolm educated himself in a penitentiary. He received his education that was really self-styled, and he paid his dues. He spent 6.5 years in the penitentiary.
Every civilization. And the folks that are economically dominant, that have the privileges of that civilization, that society, they are against any people that are a threat to them. So there's been thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of Malcolm X's assassinated, slaughtered, murdered, intimidated, jailed throughout the world, whether it was China, Japan, Germany, England, Native Americans assassinated, involved in struggles.
A videotape was made so that classes unable to attend may share the experience.
For our last two features, we are going to take a look at the social activist Gregory. And we're also going to see what Jefferson student did in celebration of Martin Luther King.
Hello, I'm Alice Dixon, and right now I'm about to conduct an interview with Dick Gregory. Mr. Gregory, how do you see race relations as compared to 1960 in today's world?
Well, I don't think you can compare. First, in America, there's been so much progress made. Never before in the history of this planet had there been as much progress made that we African Americans have made. On a worldwide level, I think when you look at what happened in the 60s, and because of television, because of the quickness of the news that went around the world, that the world got to see the mightiest nation on the planet, the most admired nation on the planet, and got to see some struggling black folks with no guns, no hatred, willing to be killed but not killed. I think this has had an influence on the whole world. And I think the world is a better place today I would just say that, thank God that the 60s are gone. What did we need in the 60s? We needed physically to get a violent system that hated me off my back. All right, we did that. Now the next movement will be the economic piece and the mental piece. How do I unlock my mind from this fantastic abuse, this unconscious abuse? It's in my books, it's on my television, it's all around me. It's hostile to me. How do you do that?
You use a lot of information and facts, a lot of obscure facts in your speeches. How would you suggest that other people stay informed of the world?
Well, it's very difficult when you think you have a free press, and the free press tells you what the system wants you to know. We killed tens of thousands of people in Panama, and our American press went over there as a cheering section. The TWA Flight 103 that was blown out the sky over Scotland, I mean, there was 8 CIA agents on that plane. How come the American people don't know that? There was 8 CIA agents on that plane. What were they on there for? They was coming back to testify about how the CIA run drugs into this country. So it's obvious the CIA blew up the plane. There's a lot of information, but you have to piece it together. There's a lot of information that comes in the newspapers, but you have to clip it and hold it and compare it. And then you got to use your own God-given intelligence. When you read a story, say, there's something wrong with that. And I'm just going to leave it open until I get more information. It's just simple.
If there's one thing that you would want every Jeffersonian to know from having listened to this interview, what would it be?
Take care of your body, to drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day, to eat more fruit, to eat less fried, greasy, starchy food, and to get rest. Get rest. Get rest. And remember that your body is better than any basketball game. It's better than any athlete's ability. That body is yours, and if you take care of it, it'll take care of you back. And so I would hope that if Jefferson didn't get anything out of it but drinking the water, eating more fruit, taking care of the body, and once you respect the body, you never do drugs or alcohol or cigarettes or snuff or none of the craziest stuff. All of this is because I have a passionate disrespect for my body. The minute I have this respect for my body, all that other way of misusing my body and abusing my body will have to go.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you much. My pleasure.
This Friday, while 12 o'clock meant lunch to most of us, to some it meant the beginning of a march in honor of the Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. After a 30-minute presentation from Dr. Miller on the subject of King, many Jeffersonians grabbed their umbrellas and signs and took off through the center hall doors. Though it was pouring down rain, these students were faithful to their journey around the track. Banners were held and signs were waved as they sang songs dedicated to King. Some students were asked how they felt about it.
Yes, I do. If everybody sticks together and works together as one, everything can be accomplished in life.
I thought the march was great. This is the kind of hype that we need. 365 days a year at Jefferson High School and at every school in the United States of America. We need black history and black culture, multicultural history and culture to be taught in the schools all the time. Because I think we can get the kids hyped like this 365 days a year, then we'll have a stronger youth, a stronger tomorrow, just a better future.
Students were urged to come out and enjoy the celebration. Rain held a lot back. After the march, students were quick to get back under shelter. The event was an important one as Channel 2 News was there videotaping the presentation and the march. It was seen that night on television. We'd like to thank those Jeffersonians who try and succeed in making this school special.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of JTV News.
And I hope you enjoy this special edition of African American History Month.
Next month is Women's History Month. See ya.
See you next time.